A group of men sat around sharing good and bad memories. As a result of the discussion, an unplanned contest began to test their memories. One young man recited Psalm 23, "The Lord is my shepherd." His rendition was very effective and it drew a thunderous applause. The next contestant was an elderly man, sitting quietly in the corner. The old man was bent with age, and it was difficult to hear every word as he too recited, "The Lord is my shepherd." When he was finished, there was a total silence in the room. No one uttered a word. No one clapped. No applause. Something strange had happened. Unconsciously, many people felt a sense of inner stirring, and a few began to whisper a quiet prayer. The young man who recited the psalm first time stood up and explained, "I know the psalm," he said, "but this old man knows the shepherd." The fourth Sunday of Easter is traditionally celebrated as Good Shepherd Sunday. The Gospel of John 10:1-10 provides us with two of the loveliest images of Jesus, the Good Shepherd. The first image is that of a smiling Jesus, sitting under a tree with a cute lamb on his lap. The second image is that of Jesus standing staff in hand with a lamb across his shoulders. Both are beautiful images depicting love and security. Laura Bell took up a very strange internship program after graduation. Her friends thought she was crazy. Some ridiculed her. But Laura wanted a challenge and she got it. She wanted to experience the life of a shepherd. She worked 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. Her day began at dawn and ended at sunset. All this time she was completely alone, except for her dog and 2,000 sheep. Once a week someone rode across the hills to bring her food and water. "When you are out there alone," she said, "there is no one to correct your mistakes. So you keep doubly alert for dangers." Laura said one of her great joys was the weather. It was also one of her biggest headaches. Sheep also have mood swings depending on the weather. The weather determined how the sheep were going to behave and what her day would be like in response to that behavior. One morning, a group of sheep broke away from the main herd. Laura said she spent the rest of the day tracking them down. Just when she found them, a thunderstorm drenched her and the flock. She spent that night shivering in soggy blankets. The story of Laura Bell gives us an insight into how hard and rigorous the job of a shepherd can be. Shepherding was one of human beings' earliest occupations. Flocks and herds always are a prominent feature in Palestine, and they consisted specifically of cows, sheep, and goats. The principal animal, however, owing to size, abundance, and usefulness, was the sheep. Possession of these animals indicated power and wealth. The principal duty of the shepherd was to see that the animals found enough food and drink and water. Psalm 23. It was important that the shepherd guards the sheep, since they were easy prey to wild animals. Amos 3:12. There were also the dangers that thieves might sneak among the sheep and carry them off. John 10:1. The Gospel speaks about Jesus, the Good Shepherd. The metaphor of the sheep, an everyday feature of Jewish life, pervades the Old Testament. God Himself is called Israel's shepherd, and there are the sheep of His pasture. Jesus saw Himself as embodying the characteristics and expectations attached to this metaphor as the Good Shepherd par excellence. The sheep recognize His voice and follow Him. He calls them by their name, leading them out, and goes before them. Jesus becomes very specific and personal in illuminating the meaning of this metaphor when He says, "I am the door of the sheep." There is a singleness, exclusiveness, and personal relationship in these heartwarming words of Jesus. Jesus is not a good shepherd, as though he were one of many in that class. He is the Good Shepherd. He stands in contrast to the thieves and robbers who steal, kill, destroy, and flee. Jesus is the Good Shepherd primarily because he gives his life for the sheep, as we daily encounter him in the Eucharist. The Good Shepherd is he who lays down and stays with his sheep, defends them, and is even willing to die for them. The language of John 10 is that of love. Jesus laid down his life for the sheep as an amazing expression of his love. There is no greater love one can have than to lay down one's life for those one loves. Carol Hampton narrates an incident when she and a friend were driving down and came upon a flock of sheep grazing near the road. The friend asked Carol to stop and take a photograph of her with the sheep. As soon as she got out of the car, the sheep moved away, and as she walked towards them calling out gently, they moved further away. The sheep would not let the friend go anywhere close enough for the camera to get both her and the sheep in the same frame. The sheep did not know her. They did not recognize her voice. Jesus knows his sheep and they recognize him. They recognize his voice and respond with the knowledge that unites in the most intimate way those who love each other. His Holiness Pope Francis invites us to pay attention to the voices that reach our hearts. Let us ask ourselves where these voices come from. Let us ask for the grace to recognize and follow the voice of the Good Shepherd, who brings us out of the enclosures of selfishness and leads us to the pastures of true freedom. May we remain obedient to Jesus, our Good Shepherd, who has paid with his life for our salvation. May Our Lady, Mother of Good Counsel, accompany and guide us as we follow our Good Shepherd. Amen.